Hi, I'm Eileen Roche, and welcome to today's episode of Between Friends. I'm so glad you joined me. We are going to decorate caps, but I'm not going to do it alone. I have my good friend Sue Brown from OML Embroidery joining me. So come on in, Sue.
Yay. Hi. I'm so excited for hats.
And why are you so excited for hats?
Because I don't want to hoop them. It's too hard. I never get it right, so I just don't do them. But I love when you can add your own touch to a hat. So I'm really excited to learn about this.
Well, it's really fun. It really
Yeah.
is fun. And you're right. I mean, we're not going to hoop a hat. We're just going to break all the rules. We're going to use a lot of fusibles, but it works and it's easy peasy. So, make it easy, right?
Yeah.
Why suffer through what you said earlier? I have to buy 4 hats if I want to get one good one. Ugh.
Yeah, even if you have the hat hoop and a multi-machine, they just never work. I'm thinking if you're pressing stuff on and you can add stuff like the rhinestones and bright colors, and you can put it on the brim. And I think that makes all the difference. That'll be so much easier and fun. I think it'll be fun instead of a stressful time.
Yeah, Irene Wilcoxon from the Embroidery Garden says embroidering hats is the worst. And I know she's got a multi-needle. I'm sure she has the hat hoop. Now, don't get me wrong. Commercial embroiderers are proficient and successful at stitching caps. But for us here, working on home machines and even, some of the tubular machines that are semi-commercial, but it's a challenge. It's a challenge. So we have a great solution. And first, we're going to start with, we are definitely going to add embroidery and patches and HTV and bling, but we're going to do it with fusibles. So I made us a chart that is all about fusing of the substrates that I use all the time. And so that they're products that we sell here at Dime. That's our patch attach. That's what we use to permanently fuse a patch to any item. The Fuse Me, as an applique product, right? Well, it also works great for fusing fabric onto the brim of a cap or, the crown. And of course, rhinestones, you can't go wrong with that. Now, all of them have a temperature that are really pretty similar. Most of them are 350. We got a 305 and a 310 and 320. And on a home iron, that's going to be your hottest setting almost, right? And but the timing is different for each substrate, and it's important to pay attention to that. And also the temperature of the peel. So some things you wait and just don't even touch it until it's cool.
Or
and
cold.
Others you peel when it's warm, right?
And it makes a difference. You won't get the results that you want if you don't do it according to this. This is actually very handy. I think everyone should print it out and put it right near their press because it's kind of like the embroiderer's compass. I don't know. I'm not going to remember. So having it right in front of you, that's what I'm going to do. Anyway.
Yeah. And and mine's printed out. Oh, well, it's actually, taped to a pole in front of my overhead camera. So I can give you the right information when I'm not in front of this screen. So
even better.
It really is helpful. Now, one of our viewers, A. Reichert, says that her daughter, or maybe his daughter, asked to make 36 hats. These children, what we do for these children, right?
Yep.
And he wound up using patches, wound up doing that. And I don't blame you. 36 hats, that's a lot of hats. So if we were doing Sue's math, let's see, 4 times 36 would be
far too many hats.
154 or something like that, right? Oh my goodness. So of course, you know that Dime is going to make it easy for you. So not only is there this chart that you are, welcome to take a screenshot of and keep for your, own use, but we also have some products that we developed that are great for decorating hats. Of course, these fusibles that we were just discussing, but also we have a brand new product, and you're one of the first to see it, and that's our Curvy Craft Press. So it has a nice little curve in the shape of a hat or a brim or even a shoe, but we're going to do that in June. And of course, yeah, it's not just the press. We also give you a stand. So let's go over and take a look at the wall. Okay, we'll shop the wall so you can see what we're exactly talking about. All righty, so here we have, well, first off, here's our Curvy Craft Press. Comes in this box, so it ships nice and easy to you, and that's the whole press, and it comes with a little bag. We also have what we call the platen, and the platen is a curved surface. It's a metal base with a silicone pad that's adhered to that metal base, and underneath of it is a plate that attaches to any of our hooping stations. Our hooping station, our press station, like if you have the totally tubular pressing station, totally tubular hooping station, the Sally Tomato pressing station, then all you need is the platen because you already have the bottom board and the post.
That's awesome. That is
isn't that
awesome. Yeah.
really handy, right, Sue?
Oh, it's going to be fun.
Yeah. Oh, and of course, I missed a whole bunch of stuff. So let's go back to the wall because, of course, we're going to use HTV, right? So we have the glitter and some strip flock, which is that kind of velvety look. It's a flat, matte look. Of course, the glitter we love. It comes in so many different colors. And we sell that in a rainbow pack, and we also sell them in collections of 3. So you can choose them as you'd like. We also have the Aurora, which is an iridescent HTV, so that is applied with heat and so forth. Oh, that's just awesome. And then of course we have our poly patch twill, and that comes in 3 different colorways. We have the uniform, the athletic, and then the brights. And so depending on what you have at home, any of these substrates could be used to decorate caps. And of course, rhinestones. You can't forget rhinestones. We all love rhinestones. I know they're back here somewhere behind me. Of course, right up here, the tube of rhinestones, which is the flock that allows you to cut the little holes, and also the rhinestones and the brush. And, we're going to get into all that. But first, let's go ahead and take a look at the actual, the craft press, which, as you can see, it does come in comes with a little bag. Now, you could use this as a carry bag, or you could use it to fill with a terry cloth towel and use that as a kind of round surface to put a cap over, okay? We can maybe take a look at that later. But here's our Curvy Craft Press. Isn't that so nice? Just that smooth plate, Teflon coated, and then here's our platen, which fits there just nice and snug. It's not big, it's not heavy. It's heavy enough so that it's sturdy and allows you to apply pressure to it. So if you were to buy the Curvy Craft Press station, it comes with the platen and the plate that you attach to the platen. It also has the bottom board to hold the post. And of course, we want that space between the platen and the bottom so that we can, get a cap over it. We have some area to work over. If it's just flat on a flat surface, oh my, that's difficult to work with. So just like our totally tubular pressing station or whatever, I'm just sliding that right in, into that slot, and then I'll just push it, give it a nice firm hold. Now I am ready to decorate caps. But before I do that, Sue, there's a lot of places where you can buy the Curvy Craft Press. So I'd like to give all of you, let you watch this short video so you can see where our Dime Elite dealers are, and they will have the Curvy Craft Press and the station in-house right now. A lot of dealers, right,
Oh, I
Sue?
didn't realize that. That's awesome.
It
I'd go in
is.
and clear out the store if we had one nearby me. That's
Right.
awesome.
And our Diamond Leaf dealers are just so valuable to the whole industry, right? Because if you're a frequent shopper at your local dealer, you want to run in there and see the latest stuff. And the Diamond Leaf dealer is the type of dealer who's on our new product shipping list, and they get it before anybody else does. In fact, we never
Oh,
show it until they've had it in their store for at least 3 weeks. So you can even go over there and see it before I show it here. But we love to give them a shout out because without them, we wouldn't be here. That's for sure.
support local, they always say. Little
Absolutely.
quilt shop, perfect.
Absolutely. And here's Susie DeSoto. She says the first thing her brother-in-law asked her to make was hats. Yep. When somebody finds out you have an embroidery machine, oh, can you do a hat? Right?
Everybody,
Absolutely.
every time,
Yeah.
for sure. And
And
now we can say yes.
Joanne Banco can't wait to do shoes. That's fun.
Oh, I know.
Mhm. And Shelley Kaiser says it would be great for pressing bag seams. Absolutely. Bags are another great topic, a great thing too. I'm getting you chat for a little bit.
Are you okay, poor Eileen? I can't wait to learn how to do the rhinestones on a hat because I think that look is amazing. And I've never done rhinestones on a hat, so I'm kind of thinking it'll be a lot of fun. Plus, putting everything on the brim. That is something that people ask all the time. And I'm thinking lace from my lace maker. I'm
Yeah.
thinking of that.
Yeah.
That's the first thing that came to my mind.
Okay. Well, I do have lace because we're going to do a bride hat, but let's go ahead and start with just plain fabric. All right.
Good enough. Good enough.
Okay. So here we have a denim cap. That's already a little distressed. You know how, that's a popular treatment to ready wear. They kind of, jazz it up a little bit, maybe add a little bleach, although they didn't do too much of that. Now, what I do is I trace the brim onto a piece of paper, and then I save that. And then I trace that onto Fuse Me. And so here I have my patriotic fabric, right? Now,
Oh,
I intentionally made it smaller than my brim so that I could have that fun frayed edge, that the denim that kind of looks so cool. So I'm going to peel this off and
I
just apply that. You like that, Sue?
well, I never thought of the entire brim like that. I was just thinking, spilling over onto the brim. Yeah,
Oh,
that's awesome. I love that. I don't
yeah.
know why I didn't think of it, but I didn't.
Yeah, and we're going to do that. So let's see. On my wrong one. Okay. Well, let's just show you. If I was going to use a flat iron, it would be a lot of, look how many passes that would be, right? And have to hold it down for 20 seconds.
It's not
But
even.
the curvy craft press is going to be a lot quicker. Now, it is bigger than, the brim is larger, so I'm going to have to do 2 passes, but that's okay.
That's
And this is
easy.
about 10 seconds that we have to wait, which is not very long at all. And then we'll just lift and then rotate and then fuse this portion of the brim. And in no time, we're going to have this decorated brim. I love it.
I think that's amazing. My mind is just going,
Yeah,
I need to be doing that. I'm
right.
thinking glitter and
Oh, goodness.
all
Yeah.
that yeah. Oh,
Yeah.
that's
And
awesome.
right. And don't worry about that edge, the raw edge, because it's fused down. It's not going to fray.
It looks great. It looks professional.
It
Like
does.
you
It
it
does.
does.
And if you wanted it to fray, here's what you would do. You would apply the Fuse Me to just, this portion of the applique fabric and leave some of it applique fabric beyond the Fuse Me. And then once this is fused in place, you could fray that extra fabric, if you wanted that look. So, okay, so that's a simple fabric brim treatment. And we're going to jazz that up a little bit. We'll do the crown in a little while. But now let's go ahead and, for a bride, maybe we want to add a little lace, right? So, and I have stitched this lace. Well, actually, I didn't do this. I had one of my team members, Nota Robertson, do this, and she stitched this gorgeous lace on sew and wash, not the adhesive, just regular sew and wash. And then we have applied Fuse Me to the wrong side of all the lace. And she did take some time to trim away some of that excess paper. And, you know, and I'm just going to give this another little, I think we're probably okay. So we'll peel that off and we're just going to lay this on the brim. And you know what? It's lace, right? So if it doesn't fit that great, I think I'm going to just trim off that one little portion there, that stem that kind of just seems to be a little awkward. I'll just cut him off. And it's lace, right? So it's not going to fray. We don't have to worry about that. Now we'll center that a little bit better.
Wow.
Yeah. We're going to have this on our brim.
That's awesome.
Isn't it fun?
That's the first thing I thought of. But again, I never thought of the entire brim.
Yeah. Well,
and
you know,
I love it.
Yeah. I think it's a subtle decoration in a way, especially when it's tone on tone like this. And, you know, you could match the colors to a bridal party. You know, they usually have like whole weekend activities nowadays, right? So, you know, it's an opportunity for another wedding attire. Isn't that fun?
I think that's amazing. I think everyone would wonder how you did it.
Yes, absolutely. Because underneath, you know, it's still a nice clean brim. Nice clean brim. Okay. So we did that. What do we do next? What's my list?
HTV.
What do we do next? HTV. Yeah. And which one was that, Gloria? Do you know? Okay, well, I guess we're just going to go ahead and do the bride, not on the brim. Yeah, no, we are. We're going to do
fabric HTV.
Yeah, we're going to go ahead and do a beach hat. All right, so we got we're going to do vibes right on the brim.
Oh.
And yeah, so isn't that fun? So I'm just getting my brim centered over the platen, and then I'm going to take my iron, my curvy craft press, and apply the pressure. And this time I want to be at like 15 seconds. So I'm actually going to go ahead and say, hey, Siri, set my timer for 12 seconds. And Siri's not listening to me. Oh, it's kind of like being home. Right? Okay, so maybe you all can count for me, but we're getting pretty close. And, you know, this is a warm peel. So I want to let it cool just a little bit. And then when I lift, I want it to cool a little bit. And then when I lift it, it will adhere. Because it's hot, right? That's 350. So we're just going to kind of take our time. There we go. Isn't that nice and clean?
That is amazing. I'm so impressed. I absolutely love it.
Yeah, it's really fun.
Oh, yeah.
But, you know, how about decorating the crown with beach, the word beach that's in 2 colors? So let's go ahead and watch this video on how you can align 2 colors in one line of text. So let's go ahead and take a look at that.
Stitch software, it's easy to layer different colors of HTV. Let me show you how to do that. I have this 3-color designs created, and I'm going to select it and then click on the placement marks. I only need to have the top 3 selected in this case. So they are all highlighted and I have a check mark in add frame. So I'll click OK. Now you can see that we have the 3 diamonds positioned at the top of the design. So let's select it all and go into cut and stitch cutter. And now you can see in each color where those placement marks are. And this is going to work out so well. Where do you see? Everything will be aligned just perfectly when we get to apply it. Of course, you'll want to save it and then close the window.
So that's pretty cool, right? Have you played with that in the cut stitch?
I haven't, but I certainly will when we're done. I thought it was much more complicated than that. That looks easy.
It does. Okay, so now let's go and show you what you do with those placement marks, right? Because you don't want to press them on the item, right? So what you do is, here is my bottom layer, the bottom of the word beach that we're going to place at the bottom of the crown. But I want you to take a look at those placement marks. I have an extra piece of the carrier paper applied over the placement marks. So as you can see, here's my little placement marks, and this is an extra piece of, the carrier sheet, so that it's protecting that HTV from touching the fabric. Here is my glitter, my HTV, the wrong side that I want to touch to my hat. So let's go ahead and get this on our board, and we're going to get that scrunch down as best we can. Now, caps have that interfacing inside, that sweatband, and sometimes it's better to open it up and pull that out so that you get a flatter surface. Some caps you'll find, oh no, it's actually better to keep that sweatband in place. So just play with it. I think I'm going to be okay with this one in this fashion. So here we're going to take our HTV, and this center placement mark, we're going to align with that center seam, because that's going to be perfect, right?
Oh, brilliant, brilliant.
Yeah. So we'll do that. We'll get that in position, and then I'm just curving this around, making sure it's going to fit and that it's snug down there. Okay, and then we're going to press. And, it's going to take a little bit of doing, because it is right on the tippy edge. And maybe I should not have gone so close to the edge. I definitely should not have done that. I should have come up off the brim a little bit. But that's, we learn, right?
And it's going to still look great, I bet.
It's still going to look great, for sure.
That's another thing you can't do with an embroidery machine. You can't get it close enough to the brim line there.
That's right, ever. You can never get it down where you really want it. So I really am a little too close there for comfort. And that's really because of that sweatband, right? So because that sweatband is there, I can't flatten the hat enough to go over the curve of the platen. There's just some distance between the platen and the actual fabric, So we're just going to let this cool a little bit, and we'll do that warm peel. And I'm going to hope that it's going to stick. And it did. It's trying to stick, most of it. Oh yeah, but I have to leave the placement in place. Okay, so this is what we're going to do. We're going to cut this away, actually. And I have to leave this in place on my crown. So I know this is a little awkward, but this is how you get to use those placement marks and how they will work. And because I have that center seam, right, I know that I am in good shape. So let's just peel this off. There we go. Okay, so now I'm going to take my next layer, and we just want to line up those marks, those placement marks.
Wow.
Yeah, and this should work. This should work. We'll see. I don't know. Well, we learned a good lesson here. Don't do it so close to the crown. I was experimenting with, to the brim, right? I should have come up just a half inch. A half inch is all I needed, right, Sue?
Tiny bit maybe, but
Yeah,
I like how you match up the marks like that.
Yeah.
I didn't realize it was that easy.
Yeah.
I think it'll still work.
Kind of think it'll work. I don't think it's going to be as lovely as I would like, but we will just see. We'll be brave and see. We have some other fun stuff to do. So if you have a fail now and then, not so horrible, right? I think it's still going to be legible. You're still going to be able to see that it's not perfectly aligned, but it would have been if I had done that properly, right?
I don't think anyone would notice. It still looks good.
Yeah.
It looks like you almost did it on purpose.
Right. Now let's go ahead and add a patch to this very same hat. So here we have a patch that we created on twill. And we have mylar in there, so we have that kind of wet look, right, for the whale tail or the dolphin tail. And now I'm going to put that on the side of the cap, and I'm going to kind of spin this around a little bit, and I am going to open up that sweatband and get that nice and flat, and then just align that seam, align the bottom of the tail right at the edge of the patch. So we'll just line up the patch with the seam and we're good to go. Now the patch attach takes 12 seconds. So we're not using a timer here, which is kind of dangerous. And this is really a cool peel. So we have to wait for that to set. And if I were to touch that now, I could probably pull it off, and we don't want to do that. So I'm going to remove it and just set it aside, and then we'll come back to it once it's adhered. Okay, how about if we add some rhinestones to our patriotic hat, right?
That's what I want to see.
Is that what you want to see? Because here's my hero all finished. Isn't that fun?
Oh, wow. Love it. Love it.
Really, really fun. So I have my star template is right here. And I've already, I think we all know how to make that, right? So in our software, let's go ahead and take a look at how you actually make that rhinestone file. And then I'll show you how you apply it to the cap.
The software, let's go ahead and make a rhinestone star. So we're going to go over to the artwork tool and select star and just left mouse click and drag and release to set the star. We'll check the size. Oh, that's a little big. We don't need it that big. We can tell up here at the top of the toolbar how large it is. So we really want that to be maybe about 2 inches. Alternatively, I could go into the properties box and change the size there. So now we have it. I'll zoom in so you can see a little bit. Move this over here so you know what software I'm in. I'm going to select it and do Control Copy, Control Paste, which is a V, and select that second one. And I'm just going to enlarge it. I'm going to grab both of them and hit the center line, and there you have it. So now let's go ahead and just assign a bling stroke to those outlines. And the default setting for the stones is 12 SS, and I actually want to be 10. So we'll hit apply, and you can see they get a little smaller. The spacing is just 1 millimeter apart, so I'm going to increase that to 2 millimeters apart and click apply. Now I'm done. All I have to do is export the bling and click save and send it to my machine.
Isn't that so simple, Sue?
Wow.
I know.
Learn something new every day.
Yeah. So here's my cutout template of the star, right? And I just lay that in a tray. And it's, sticky on this bottom side. This side is adhesive, really tacky. So then I just go ahead and I put all my rhinestones, just brush them over here and, in a rotating fashion, and they will fall right side up. Oh, I just can't believe that they do that every time. They fall right side up, except maybe 1 or 2 guys will give you a little hard time. We can just drop a couple more in there, and then they will right themselves in those open spaces. And then just brush them out of the way so that we can pick it up, right? Brush out the excess. And this one is upside down, so we'll just flip him manually. And then you take your template lift paper. So this is tacky here. And then when I lift that, place it tacky side down over the stars and just finger press that in place and then lift. There's my stars. Oh my gosh, that's so easy.
Wow.
So easy. Right?
Yeah, that's amazing. I'm sorry, I'm in awe of it because I always thought it was more difficult, I guess.
Yeah, and like they really stay on there. So, you'll be working with things and you're like, oh, you can't get this off your hands. It's all right. Just kind of get it off and then get your hat situated onto the platen And again, remember that center seam, that's your friend. Use that as you need. Now, I inadvertently picked up an extra rhinestone that maybe you can see right here in the center. So with a pair of tweezers, I could just go and pull that off, because otherwise when I apply it, it will be in position. So now I'll take my star and I'm just going to align that center diamond rhinestone with the seam. There we go. Get that in place. And now we will press. And rhinestones are 25 seconds. So that's a pretty good time, right? I mean, pretty good. But man, it looks great. It really does. Mm-hmm. So we have a lot of comments. People seem to like this hat topic. It's fun.
Oh, it's fun. It's because it's so difficult to do on the embroidery machine, and it just takes so much time and effort and digitizing properly. I think I could come up with a million ideas for this.
I'm sure you could. I'm sure you could. And so this is also a warm peel, but warm is not hot. So we want to let that kind of adhere, give it a moment, and then we just lift that tape and there they stay.
Wow.
I know. And they stay. I mean, I love that.
That's amazing. That is amazing. And again, it looks professional. That's what I'm loving about it. It looks like you bought it like that, not just made it.
Yeah. And, so here, Catherine Heller said, here, let me put this in. There we go. She says, wait, Mylar on the twill? Remember the dolphin tail? Yes, absolutely. Why not? You could put Mylar on anything. Absolutely anything. Yeah. And let's see. Laura Park says, if you goof, can you warm it up and adjust? So I think you're talking about the patch attach. You can, absolutely. So, and patch attach isn't like HTV where you might have some of the substrate stay on the garment and be visible. But with patch attach, yes, if it's moving, you can move it, adjust it, and then refuse, and then it'll stay in place for sure. So let's see, what other questions that we have? Oh, Joanne Banco says a hat making party would be fun. Buy hats and everybody makes them and decorates their own. It would be fun. And that would be an easy thing to do. You need the Curvy Craft press, you need the station, but you don't need embroidery machines, right? Maybe you have some cutters or you bring patches, you bring lace that you've already stitched, right, Sue?
Definitely. I'm thinking that I'm going to issue a challenge in the OML Embroidery University Facebook group to put 5 things on a hat and see how it looks.
Oh,
yeah. So a little challenge and post a picture and see what everyone can do, because I have far too many ideas in my head.
And I mean, I thought, like that patriotic cap really reminded me of pieced fabric, like small quilt blocks, like that's fun. Going to a quilt show, you could do something like that, right? And Chris Vick says she's with Sue. She has a multi-needle frame. I mean, machine and hat frame still in the box. Yeah. Lots of people feel that same way. Okay, so what else do we have? Well, we have some, we're going to move over to, I want to show you, if you want to do a big design. Now, this is kind of not a really pretty example, but if you want to do a big design that goes from the crown over to the brim, that's a challenge, right? You have that big seam. So here's what we can do. I'm going to show you. I'm going to put my hat on this, just kind of position it here on the platen to hold it for me. And then I'll take my anchor, and I'm going to just kind of take a good look at where I want this positioned. And I'm going to press it on the brim. And you can release some of that carrier to relax this, so you can really get a better look at how it's going to lay. Like, in fact, I should have trimmed this down a little bit better. But here we go. Now you can see. And, here we are around a curve. So you're going to cut right into that curve on the carrier paper, just so we can get this to lay flat. There we go. Now we're getting a better view of what that's really going to look like. And then I'm going to take a Sharpie, because a Sharpie will stay on this side of the carrier, and I'm going to draw my brim right there, right? And also over here. And then I'm just going to cut this in half. I know, it feels a little violent, right? We're going to take it off, and I'm going to cut right on those lines.
Wow.
Yep. And then I'm going to adhere this in 2 sections, right? So I'm going to set aside this one. And the first thing I want to do is I want to make sure I'm really going to get that curved exactly how I want it. So I'm going to get rid of this excess carrier that's, you know, right around the area that's going to connect with the brim, right? Or the crown, really, that seam. So I've cleaned that up pretty well. And now we'll just place that right there. All right. And of course, you know, the carrier is adhesive, so it's going to hold on. I see I have a little HTV line here, so I'll clip that off. All right. And now we'll take that press and we're going to press. And that is 15 to 20 seconds. So we'll do, you know, 15 seconds and see how that goes. I'm not counting. Sue, are you counting?
No. I'm watching in awe because that's amazing. I had no idea you could do that.
Right? I mean, I never really thought of it too. And so we started playing around with it. I'm like, hey, you know, it would be a lot easier. Like I was thinking if you seamed, you know, if you were doing fabric, well, you wouldn't hesitate to seam it, right?
True.
So same thing, right? Except we don't have to sew it. It's just, okay, so there's
So
our
much
bottom.
easier.
Yep. And now we're going to take our top. Now, I will tell you that this is where we really do have to work around that curve. So I'm going to cut into this and cut in here. I don't want to separate it. I just want to make it a little bit friendlier to apply. And I might get into a little trouble like I did with that, with the beach, but we'll see. We'll see how this goes.
I think if you just take your time, you can do that easily enough. I also think that looks amazing.
Yeah, it really does. And you know what? It doesn't have to be as perfect as you think it should be, because when the hat is on someone's head, you know, it appears to be a solid line of HTV. And that's what's important, right?
Definitely.
So yeah. Okay. So let's go ahead and fuse this. We'll take our time. Now, you know, I'm not using this, but I could, like if I wanted to protect that HTV, if I was afraid that my iron was going to touch it again, you just, you know, how much heat do you want to apply? So I could put a little sheet, a Teflon sheet in here. And I do cut these down into a manageable size. They're fairly inexpensive. And I find, you know, like a 5-inch by, I guess this is about 8 inches. That's a nice size for caps. It keeps me, keeps it under control, that it's not so obstructive. So yeah, it's looking pretty good. Maybe not. We might need a little bit more heat on this. So we'll just, you know, reapply this area here. And it's going to take a moment, but boy, is that going to be fun. Okay, and if you don't like that seam, then you can put a row of rhinestones there.
Oh, yeah. That's a great idea.
Absolutely. Nobody knows what your intention was.
That's what I always say. Work with what you got and, you know, do the best you can. Don't expect perfection because nobody notices but you.
That's right. Absolutely. It's like when couples, you know, plan their wedding, right? See, look how great that looks. And that looks great. And when it's on, here, I'll put it on my head so you can see.
That's the difference. You won't be able to
see
that line.
I mean, you see a little bit of a line, but it's okay. It's all right.
I don't think anyone's going to say, hey, Eileen, you have a line in your hat there.
Yeah, but it's manageable and it's all adhered. Otherwise, you're probably going to have a bubble there. It's never really going to adhere. Okay, so then we have some really fun stuff. So we can do a couple patches and some rhinestones. So let's take a look at this fun hat. So here's the elements. We're going to do number 23 and a basketball and some rhinestones on the brim. And these patches are going to go up on the crown. But I want you to take a look at the depth of this patch. So this patch it's kind of like a chenille patch in the sense that it's pretty thick, right? It's pretty thick. it's thicker than our rhinestones. So what we want to do is apply the rhinestones first so that we can then apply the other. Okay.
That makes sense.
Yeah, that makes sense. So let's see. We have to pay attention to what we're doing. Excuse me. And the idea is that these, how do they go? They go like, okay, they're going to go like this on my cap, right? Yeah. Okay, so let's go ahead and peel it. Let's take this off. And you can see that I've already slit my tape. So here, I'll just open that up. You see these slits there? Can you see that, Sue?
Yes.
Yeah.
Clearly.
Right. Okay.
That
so
just makes it easier.
Yeah. So what that's doing is allowing me to go around the brim. Now it does want to stick to itself. So let's just go ahead and line that up and get that in position. I think that's probably good enough. There we go. Yeah, that's going to leave room for my patch, right? I have plenty of room for my patch.
Wow.
Okay. Okay, and I'm just going to go ahead and do this. But now this is, the trucker hat. So that's a polyester or a nylon. I'm not real sure. I guess I could read the tag. I don't know if it'll tell me, to be honest with you. And we haven't had trouble burning them, believe it or not, but I'm just going to go ahead and protect it. Why not? Because we're going to be applying more heat to that area. And
better safe than sorry.
Better safe than sorry. And this is going to be 2 applications because we have 2 sides here of the brim. And again, the rhinestones are like a 25-second adhesion, and then we want to peel that off warm. But I'll do this side, and then I'll move the press over to the other side of the brim, and we'll do the other, spray, right? It's like a spray of rhinestones that are coming off of those, that basketball patch.
I think rhinestones on the brim is something spectacular too. I really like it. I really like it. It's different than what anyone else can do.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Yep. Okay. They're getting there. They're getting there. You really should have a timer. You should really be paying attention to that because it does make a difference. And if you have 1 or 2 that are not adhered, it's probably because you didn't leave it on long enough. But there we go. That worked out. That worked out. Now we're going to put our patch on, and I have my patch attach in place. I just want to peel that off. And then we're going to, in that fashion, isn't that fun? Okay, and I am going to cover this with the Teflon just because, it's a lot of heat, right?
We all know what happens when you put too much heat on thread, because I did that. Remember, I burnt one of my purses that I was ironing. So it can happen. So it's better to put something on it.
For sure. Yeah. And keep an eye on the edge of the press. Don't, pay attention that it's not up against the crown if it doesn't need to be, right? So as you can see here, I've kind of given it a little space in between the edge of the press and my crown. It's not that the crown can't withstand the heat, but, just set yourself up for success. Okay, so I am set. How cute is that, right?
Wow.
Isn't that fun?
Yeah, that's awesome.
Okay, well, we're going to come back and we're going to do these, but right now we're going to do a little bit more rhinestones. I have a black hat that I'm just dying to do this brim treatment on. Where do you see this, Sue? Look at this.
Oh, that's awesome.
I know. So much fun. And,
very retro.
Yeah, what I did was I just took a picture of my brim. Now, I didn't do a black hat. I did one that was similar. I want to make sure that this is centered and so forth. And I took a photograph of that brim so that I could see the top stitching, right? And that showed me where I could draw these bling lines. And that's exactly what I did. It's that easy. Just right over the top stitching. Okay, and we're going to do this in 2 passes. We're going to get the right side, and then we'll switch over to the left side. So isn't that fun? That's going to be a really great hat. And then we're going to get really fancy and look who's in charge after that, right?
Love it. Love
Won't that be
it.
fun? That'll go on the crown.
Love it.
Yeah.
So once you do the brim, like you have it there, you take a picture, measure it all out, that sort of thing. Keep it as a template. So next time when you do it, it's not going to be so, not time consuming, but it's perfect and it'll work.
Yes. If you stay with that cap, there are multiple cap manufacturers. They're all a little different. And in fact, this one is different than the one that I drew. So it's not coming out absolutely perfect, but close. And these rhinestones have glue on the back. So you can manually go in and set one, like we used to with the wand, or you can heat them up on an iron and then press them in place. And this one I think has kind of not really worked out as I had hoped. So I might not show you this one, actually. It's kind of, it got a little crazy looking here. But okay, well, I'll show you, right? Truth be told. Not that great. Yeah, some of them not that great. But you know what? I could fix that, or put a big patch in the middle, or just realign this and start over and just, get those crystals into position. So that's super fun, super easy. Okay, let's go ahead back to that 23. Now we are going to mount those patches onto the cap. Oh, yep, here we go. So look at these fun patches. So they're kind of textured. They have the chenille that has been stitched onto our twill, that black outline. And then that's glitter, Caesar glitter HTV underneath. And I'm just going to peel that off and position that in place. And I'm just kind of eyeing that with the seam that's at the top of the crown. And then I will cover that with, well, actually, I guess I'll cover it with a carrier. Yeah, so I have a carrier piece over here. That would be more appropriate because we have the glitter. So I'm just going to cover this whole thing with that. And then we will press this down. I guess I should do them together, right? That'd probably be the best way to do it. So I'll see if I have another carrier piece.
That looks amazing, though.
Yeah.
Even though it's not pressed on, but it looks amazing. Those numbers are beautiful.
They are beautiful, aren't they? Yeah. And just bear with me a minute so I can get this carrier sheet.
I really do like the rhinestones on the brim. I think that makes all the difference.
Yeah, it's not too much. You know what I mean? It's a nice touch. It's not over the top. It's just really fun. Okay. So we're going to hold this down for 15 to 20 seconds. And then we're going to let it cool before we remove that carrier. And again, we should be counting, but we're not counting.
We're not counting.
We're living on the edge here.
Well, I like to live on the embroidery edge.
Yeah. Okay.
Beautiful.
But I think it's in place.
Wow.
How cool is that hat, right?
That's amazing.
Yeah, I like that. I like that. And then we have kind of the same hat, but this time it's just a baseball in the brim, and that's HTV. So it's a couple layers of HTV. Lots of baseball moms are, kind of wearing this stuff, or just baseball fans. And this, of course, is basketball.
It looks great.
Doesn't that look great?
It really does.
I know. I mean, anybody would be proud to wear that.
Oh, yeah, for sure. And you can't do any of that on the embroidery machine. So I'm kind
Yeah.
of thinking it's really going to be fun.
Yeah. It is fun. Okay, so I'm gonna, yeah, I'm missing a little carrier down here on the bottom, so I'm just gonna layer that.
I love the pink. It's very nice.
Okay, so I'm getting some notes here. I'm getting some notes. Actually, they really aren't like that anymore. Okay, so we're just gonna go ahead and press this all as one. And I think that it's multi-layers, and Gloria's telling me that they're separate, but I believe they are all on one sheet right now. We're going to find out. So either the white is going to stick to the hat or all of it is going to stick to the hat, right? We'll see.
I'm going for all of it. All of it, all of it.
Yeah, Ann Philbeck says she needs to make one for her granddaughter who plays basketball. Absolutely. Boy, my daughter played 4 years high school. She was captain for 3 years. And oh, boy, did we have a lot of basketball gear in our house, I'll tell you. Okay, I think we're okay. Yeah, there we go. All together.
Beautiful.
Isn't that great?
Yep.
Yeah, super cute. And now we want to do the same thing with those letters. We are going to, I have them right here. So now we have like a lighter pink, a softer pink. And, you know, when we do this together, we want to make sure that they're aligned, that they're on the same plane, right? The bottom of the text is aligned, and we're going to center them on the cap. There we go. And then we're just going to apply that heat and pressure. And then number 42 can wear this cap proudly. Super fun.
So many ideas that are different things you can do because you have the brim part open to use. I can think of a ton of things.
Yeah. There you go.
Beautiful. Look
Isn't
at
that fun?
that.
I know.
Yeah, I
Super
love it.
Yeah. Now, when you look at this, do you think, oh, maybe we need some rhinestones?
Yes,
Right?
a little bit, a little bit.
little bit.
Or King
Yeah.
Star metallic on something,
Yeah.
you know, little
And
bling.
Marcia tells me the numbers are backwards. That's right. It's number 42 on the heart and number 24 on the cap. Yeah. Don't
Maybe you
ever
have
do
2
caps
kids.
live. What's that?
Maybe you have 2 kids and one's 42 and one's 24.
There you go. Thank you.
Plus you're
Same
doing
thing.
it upside down. So
I
I
am
mean,
doing it
that's
upside
why.
down.
Yeah.
Would you have a Facebook on making those fancy letters? We definitely will have a Facebook on those fancy letters coming up. It'll be in the future and within about a month. So hang in there. And there you go. Creative Application says play two positions.
See, there's always good answers for it. Nothing is wrong. Nothing is wrong.
Yeah, our friends are so forgiving. So let's see. Is that a structured cap? She had to get a harness on her dog to get ready. Okay. Yeah, that is a structured cap. That's a trucker's cap. So here, I'll show you the inside. Yep, it's absolutely very firm. You know, it's those foam inner linings. But yep, that's really nice and firm. So yep, it's a structured cap. Most of my caps that I've shown here today are soft-sided, but that's just a personal preference of what I like to wear. I don't like to wear structured hats, you know.
They're too tall for me.
Yeah, they're too tall. They're really masculine and all that. And so let's see. Yep, that's what we have. But yeah, those structured letters definitely made in our software. There's a couple steps to them. So, you know, but they're fun. They're really fun to make. And boy, they're trendy right now. They look
great.
Don't they look great? Mm-hmm. Yeah. Okay. So here is Catherine Keller. She says she's in love. She ordered some structured caps by mistake. Well, if you get the Curvy Craft Press, you're going to be in good shape because you'll need that to, you know, apply whatever you're going to put on there, the HTV or patches or, you know, fabric, whatever you're going to apply. You're definitely going to need that Curvy Craft Press. And I encourage you to get the Totally Tubular the craft station, the whole thing. It's really a bargain. So here, let's show the special of what that is. It's only $119, I believe.
Wow.
Yeah. So it's I mean, you just can't beat that, really. It all comes together, and it's just a great thing. Yeah, love it.
I love the hat that you did on there, that the flower and the leaves are going.
Yeah,
That is, I think, what people have wanted to do forever,
right.
because I think that's just beautiful. It's more artistic and creative, I think.
And it's feminine, it really turns kind of a masculine item into, or wearable into, a more feminine. So it's just beautiful. Yeah. Now, in this instance, see that the big flower that extends onto the brim? I would have, now I know, cut that. It would have been a lot easier to apply.
I'll learn something new.
Yeah.
It
So
still
you are
looks great, though.
Oh,
It
it
looks
does. This one does look great, but it needed a lot of help. I can tell you that was, lots of samples are made way before we have all the right equipment. So anyway, Aretha Ranky says, yes, great price and with free shipping. We don't do that all the time. So take advantage of that. It's free shipping this week. So I know many of you are here to see the On the House project. And let's see, Marianne de Blagala wants to know, is that flower hat fabric or vinyl? So in that image there, all that you see is vinyl, except the red dots are rhinestones. So we did not apply any fabric to that hat. But, there's no reason why we couldn't have fussy cut a beautiful flower out of cotton quilting fabric after we applied Fuse Me to the wrong side of it and fused it on just like we did in that brim, right?
looks great.
Yeah, it's fun. It really.
I can't wait to get started.
Yeah.
I have a few extra caps because I don't like doing them on the embroidery machine. And I'm going to play with rhinestones, HTV. I don't know what I'm going to make yet, but it'll be good. Dash hounds, maybe.
There you go.
Dash hound around it.
Yeah. Well, it's that time of year. We're all heading outdoors, and, many of us like to keep the sun off our skin. So, that's what a baseball cap is really handy for, right? Keep the sun out of our eyes. So I know many of you are here for the On the House project. So are you ready to see what it is?
I'm ready. I'm ready.
I know you are. But before we do that, we have to talk about what's going to happen next week. We're going to celebrate the red, white, and blue. So you saw a little hint of a little red, white, and blue today. We'll be doing more of that. Okay, so here's Chris Vick. She says, I have the pressing station, so you only need the Curvy Craft platen. That's correct. You need the platen and the press itself. So those two items is what you'll need, Chris. So I hope you take advantage of that. Okay, and then on May 7th, Ashley Jones will be getting started with the new Edge to Edge plugin part 2. That's on May 7th. So make sure you join her. I know many of you love Ashley. Her software lessons are so informative. We're always learning from her. So take advantage of that class. And we would really appreciate it if you would like us on Facebook and subscribe to our YouTube channel. That's how we know we're providing the education that you want. Without that, well, we kind of just think maybe we shouldn't do this anymore. Don't you feel that way, Sue?
I do. Absolutely. Absolutely.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah. I know you work hard. You are over on YouTube all the time. How many times a week are you broadcasting?
Depends if we have Mug Rug Monday and I'm doing classes. So 3 times a week.
That's
usually. Yeah, that's okay. It's
what
all live and it's fun.
Yeah.
Yes. I want people to enjoy embroidery.
Right.
Or hats.
So your likes and your subscriptions, are free, of course, and they really mean a lot to all of us who do this kind of work. And we like to see your projects. So let's take a look at what you've been stitching on the Dime Sew Along using the hashtag Dime Sew Along on the House or Exquisite Thread. Look at those great projects, huh?
They're gorgeous, actually. I was just thinking the most fun I've ever had was last month making that book.
Really?
Oh, yeah. Because
Oh.
my brain can't like picture how it's going to turn out. And I was
Uh-huh.
just thrilled that it looks so good. I know.
Oh,
I'm
I'm so
like,
happy.
yeah, we loved it. A lot of people made them and they're like, oh, yeah, that's awesome.
Oh, that's great. That's great. Well, speaking of, my friend Reen Wilcoxon over at the Embroidery Garden, she made this HTV temperature gauge, right? Because the press comes with 3 settings: low, medium, and high. And she went to the trouble of researching by using a temperature gun on these settings, and these are the temps, that ballpark, within maybe 5 degrees, are what low, medium, and high are on that craft press. So here you see, this is the bag that comes with the press. And, you can stuff it with a terry cloth towel and use that as like a pressing kind of thing, but I'll tell you, the Platen, the station, is a lot better than that. So I use my bag to store my press when I'm not using it. It just fits right in there. So, but thanks to Reen Wilcoxon. Thanks, Reen. That was a great idea. We appreciate you sharing that file. So she's the best, isn't she?
Yeah, that's pretty clever.
Yeah,
Like
that
it.
really was clever. Okay, so this month's project is a little towel topper. Super simple, right in the hoop. You're going to do this in no time, Sue. It's easy.
It looks good.
Yeah, let's take a look at how it goes. I use sew-any shape foam to instead of batting because I wanted a nice firm, some real body to that topper. So I hooped my sew-any shape foam, and I stitched the design file, and then I cut it out on those stitch lines. For the fabric, you can either do the same, or you can use a digital cutter and cut it out. So all the instructions on both methods are in the download. And then you hoop, sew and wash stabilizer and stitch color 1, which is pretty much the same sequence. And you stitch that outline, and then you place your fused outer fabric, lining fabric, and foam. So you're going to fuse all 3 layers together with Fuse Me, and then you're just going to lay that right on top. And at this point, you're going to put matching thread in your bobbin, and you'll stitch the quilting, which is that diamond-shaped quilting, and the satin outline. And you may find that the foot will maybe get caught under the edge of the top layer of fabric. You know how that happens, Sue, right? Ugh,
Yep, it does.
So what I do is I travel back in the design to an area that was stitched prior to the problem. And then I cover, I hope I have that photo, I cover it with another piece of sew and wash, just big enough to cover the problem and let it get around the corner. And then I just stitch right over that. And that will keep that fabric down underneath the satin stitches so that when you do wash it and it goes away, it's secured in that satin outline. So that's, you may need, that's a really great tip that could come in handy later on.
Definitely. And you can keep some of your scraps too of the backing for that and just have a little envelope of them and then just, there it is.
There it is. That's right. Absolutely. And then you're going to open up that buttonhole. Okay. So I place a straight pin at the end of the buttonhole and then insert my seam ripper at the opposite end and just slice towards the other end. But the pin will stop the seam ripper from going all the way through. So, because once you do that, you don't have a buttonhole anymore.
Nope.
And then you're just going to hand sew a buttonhole to the wrong side, and there's your table topper. Super fun, simple. You could add sayings to it, text. You could do whatever you wanted. right?
Fussy cut the fabric is another
Yeah,
thing, because
right.
I'm
I did.
thinking Halloween or something
Mhm.
like that, just
Yes.
because your fabric is so cute.
Oh, I just love that fabric. I made aprons for my daughter and granddaughter, and Emma's little doll out of that fabric. It's just cute.
Yeah, wonderful.
Mhm.
Lots of
So yeah, Sue, thanks so much for joining me today. It was really fun to have you here.
I love the curvy press. I think we're gonna have a lot of fun with this.
Oh, I think so too. I mean,
Yeah,
I already have.
definitely.
Yeah,
I
me
know.
too.
I
I can't wait to see what you do with it.
Yes, I'll
Yeah,
try not to make it Halloween. I'll just
yeah.
make it fun.
So this Saturday, you're going to teach this class, right?
Yes, we are going to make this towel topper and
Uh-huh.
all the details. And if I make mistakes, I'll show you how to fix them.
Mhm.
And then once we're done, you can go make your own. It's free. I always
Yep.
make sure I say that 500 times. It's free. And you might as well try something different.
Oh, that's right. Yeah.
Yeah.
And we really do appreciate all that you do for Dime. Absolutely. So thank you so much for all you do.
Oh, you're very welcome. Dime's the best.
Oh,
Absolutely the best. I've
thank
been
you.
with you since you started the business, and I've always relied on it.
Oh, thank you, Sue. It's been a fun run. We're blessed to do what we do.
Yeah,
So
definitely.
thank you for joining me today, and
Thank
see
you.
you later.
That was fun. Thank you.
It was.